the mahogany table and pushed the $2 million contract back toward David Goldstein, one of Hollywood's most powerful producers. "I can't do this," Ali said quietly, his voice lacking its usual booming confidence. "I won't do this." Goldstein, who had been counting his profits before the meeting even ended, stared in disbelief. No actor in 1978 turned down $2 million, especially not one facing the financial troubles Ali was experiencing. But what Ali said next would leave the veteran producer in tears and change forever how Hollywood thought about dignity, character, and the price of fame. "You can offer me $10 million, $20 million, Ali continued, "but I won't destroy good men's reputations for money. That script doesn't just lie about my opponents, it spits on everything they sacrificed to give people great fights." The room erupted in shocked murmurs, but Ali wasn't finished delivering the most expensive moral lesson in Hollywood history. Hit subscribe for more stories. To understand why Ali walked away from life-changing money that October afternoon, you have to understand his desperate financial situation in 1978. Despite earning over $60 million during his career, Ali was nearly broke. Bad investments, generous spending, expensive divorces, and mounting tax debts had left the greatest boxer scrambling to pay bills. His accountant had painted a stark picture. "Muhammad, you need a major payday fast." That's when the Hollywood offer arrived. David Goldstein was a Hollywood legend behind 3 Best Picture winners. He had been trying to make a Muhammad Ali biopic for 5 years. When Ali's representatives finally agreed to a meeting, Goldstein prepared an offer Ali literally cannot refuse. The meeting was scheduled for October 15, 1978, at Paramount's offices. Ali arrived knowing this meeting could solve his financial problems in a single signature. "Muhammad," Goldstein began, "we're going to make the greatest sports movie ever filmed. Your story deserves the biggest budget, biggest stars, everything first class." He slid the contract across the table. $2 million up front, plus percentage of profits. This is more money than we've ever offered any athlete for their life story. Ali picked up the contract and studied it carefully. The numbers were staggering, more than enough to solve his immediate financial crisis and secure his family's future. But then Goldstein handed him something else. "Here's the script," the producer said proudly. "We've crafted a narrative that really shows your journey, your struggles, your triumphs. It's Academy Award material." Ali opened the script and began reading. The first 50 pages were what he'd expected as his childhood in Louisville, Olympic victory, conversion to Islam, his principled stand against Vietnam. But then Ali reached the sections about his fights, and his expression began to change dramatically. His jaw tightened with growing discomfort. His hands gripped the pages harder. In the script, Joe Frazier was portrayed as a violent, ignorant man who hated Ali out of jealousy and racial insecurity. Sonny Liston was depicted as a mob-connected thug with no redeeming qualities. George Foreman was shown as a sullen brute who only understood violence. Ken Norton was portrayed as a mediocre fighter who got lucky breaks. Each opponent was reduced to a one-dimensional villain whose only purpose was to make Ali look better by comparison. The worst section dealt with the thriller in Manila. The script portrayed Frazier as a mindless animal throwing wild punches, while Ali displayed superior intelligence and skill. There was no mention of Frazier's incredible courage, his heart, or the mutual respect the fighters had shown each other after that brutal war. Ali closed the script and sat in silence for several minutes. When he looked up, his eyes showed something the Hollywood executives had never seen before: genuine pain mixed with quiet anger. Finally, Ali looked up at Goldstein. "This isn't my story," he said quietly. "What do you mean?" Goldstein asked, confused. "Everything in there is based on documented facts. We researched every fight, every press conference, every major moment of your career." "The facts might be right," Ali said, "but the truth is wrong. Joe Frazier isn't the man you wrote in this script. None of my opponents are the men you wrote." Goldstein shifted uncomfortably. "Muhammad, this is how movies work. We need clear heroes and villains. We need dramatic tension. The audience has to know who to root for." "People should root for great fighting," Ali replied. "They should root for 2 warriors giving everything they have. They shouldn't root for one man because you made the other man look like an animal." Herbert, Muhammad Ali's manager, tried to intervene. "Muhammad, maybe we can work with them on some changes to the script. The money is too important to walk away from over a few scenes." But Ali was already standing up, pushing the contract back across the table toward Goldstein. "I can't do this," Ali said. "I won't do this." That's when Goldstein made his crucial mistake. Instead of listening, he heard only a negotiation tactic. You want more money? Goldstein said quickly. 3 million. Final offer. Ali shook his head. It's not about money. 4 million then, Goldstein said desperately. You could never worry about money again, Mr. Goldstein, Ali said, his voice growing stronger. You could offer me $50 million and I still wouldn't sign this, because some things can't be bought. What things? Goldstein asked, genuinely confused. Ali walked to the window overlooking the studio lot, where hundreds of people were working to create the dreams and fantasies that Hollywood sold to the world. When he turned back to face the room, his expression was serious but not angry. Mr. Goldstein, let me tell you about Joe Frazier. The real Joe Frazier. Not the man in your script. Ali began pacing slowly around the conference room as he spoke. Joe Frazier grew up picking vegetables on a farm in South Carolina. His family was so poor they couldn't afford to feed all their children. When Joe was 15, he moved to Philadelphia with $7 in his pocket. He worked in a slaughterhouse cutting meat for 10 hours a day, then trained at night. The room was completely quiet now, everyone listening intently. When I was stripped of my title for refusing to go to Vietnam, Joe Frazier supported me publicly. When I was banned from boxing, Joe helped me get exhibition fights. When I was down and out, Joe Frazier was there for me. Ali's voice grew more passionate. And how did I repay him? I called him ignorant. I called him ugly. I called him an Uncle Tom. I said things about Joe Frazier that hurt him deeply, and I knew they hurt him. But I said them anyway because it sold tickets and made money. Several people in the room were shifting uncomfortably. This wasn't the conversation they'd expected to have. Your script makes it seem like Joe deserved those things I said, like he was actually ignorant, actually a puppet of white promoters, actually someone who earned my cruelty. But that's a lie. Joe Frazier is one of the finest men I've ever known. He's intelligent, dignified, and brave. He fought me 3 times and gave me 3 of the greatest nights of my career. And your script turns him into a villain, so that I can look like more of a hero. Ali turned to look directly at Goldstein. That's not just wrong, Mr. Goldstein. That's evil. Joe Frazier's children might see this movie. His grandchildren might see it. And they'll think their father, their grandfather was the man you wrote in that script instead of the great man he really is. You're asking me to destroy a good man's legacy for money, and I can't live with that. Ali's voice broke slightly on the last words, the weight of his own past cruelties toward Frazier clearly weighing on him. Goldstein was beginning to understand that this wasn't a negotiation. This was something far more serious. This was a man confronting his own conscience and refusing to compromise it again. But Mohammed, the producer said quietly, this is how the movie business works. We simplify complex stories so audiences can follow them. We create heroes and villains because that's what dramatic structure requires. Then maybe, Ali said, the movie business is wrong. Ali picked up the script and held it in front of him. Mr. Goldstein, every man I fought deserves better than this. Sonny Liston came from poverty worse than mine and fought his way to the heavyweight championship. George Foreman was a troubled young man who found purpose and discipline through boxing. Ken Norton was a Marine who served his country and became a great fighter through pure determination. Ali's voice was rising now, filled with the passion that had made him one of the greatest speakers of his generation. These men didn't exist just to make me look good. They had their own dreams, their own struggles, their own triumphs. They made me better by being great themselves. And you want me to take money to tell the world they were less than they were? The room was completely silent. Several of the executives were staring at their hands, unable to meet Ali's eyes. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, Ali continued. I've said cruel things. I've hurt good people. I've let my ego and my mouth do damage I can't undo. But I won't make money by doing it again. I won't get rich by destroying the reputations of men who made my career possible. That's when David Goldstein, the hard-nosed Hollywood producer who had negotiated $1,000 deals and made grown executives cry, felt tears forming in his eyes. Mohammed, Goldstein said quietly, his voice breaking with genuine emotion, in 30 years of making movies, I've never heard anyone turn down life-changing money for reasons like these. I've seen actors demand more money for bigger trailers, better catering, first-class travel, but I've never seen anyone walk away from millions because they refused to hurt people who weren't even in the room. Ali sat back down at the conference table, but his posture remained firm. Mr. Goldstein, those men may not be in this room, but they're in my heart. Joe Frazier is in my heart. Sonny Liston is in my heart. George Foreman is in my heart. Every man I ever fought is in my heart, and I can't betray them for any amount of money. Goldstein wiped his eyes and looked around the room at his staff, who were all staring at Ali with something approaching awe. "What would you want us to change?" Goldstein asked. "Everything," Ali said simply. "If you want to make a movie about my life, it has to be honest about theirs too. Show Joe Frazier as the great champion he is. Show Sonny Liston's struggle to overcome his past. Show George Foreman's intelligence and dignity. Show that every fight was a war between two worthy warriors, not a battle between good and evil." "But that makes the dramatic structure more complicated," the screenwriter protested. "Audiences want clear heroes and villains." "Then give them better heroes," Ali said. "Give them Joe Frazier, who fought me with a broken jaw and never complained. Give them George Foreman, who reinvented himself as a minister and entrepreneur. Give them the real story of professional boxing, where great men bring out each other's greatness." Goldstein was quiet for a long moment, thinking, "Mohammed, what you're asking for would require a complete rewrite. We'd have to start over. The budget would increase. The timeline would change. And honestly, I'm not sure the studio would approve such a complex narrative." Ali stood up again and extended his hand to Goldstein. "Then I guess we don't have a deal," Ali said. "But Mr. Goldstein, I want you to know something. You seem like a good man, and good men sometimes have to choose between what's profitable and what's right." As Ali turned to leave, Goldstein called out to him, "Mohammed, wait." Ali stopped, but didn't turn around. "What if we start over?" Goldstein said. "What if we throw out this script and write a new one? What if we make a movie that honors everyone's truth, not just yours?" Ali turned back to face the producer. "That would take courage, Mr. Goldstein. It would take more money, more time, more risk. And there's no guarantee it would make as much profit. But it would be right?" Goldstein asked. "It would be right," Ali confirmed. Goldstein looked around the room at his staff, then back at Ali. "Then let's do what's right." The movie that emerged 3 years later was completely different. Instead of portraying Ali's opponents as villains, it showed them as complex human beings with their own motivations, struggles, and dignity. The film received critical acclaim and won Academy Awards for Best Actor and Best Screenplay. But more importantly, it established a new standard in Hollywood for biographical films about sports figures. Other productions began featuring more complex, respectful portrayals of all the people involved in famous stories, not just the central character. Joe Frazier attended the movie's premiere and was moved to tears by his respectful portrayal. For the first time, he told reporters, "Mohammed showed me the same respect in the movies that I always showed him in the ring." Years later, when Goldstein was asked about the most important lesson he'd learned in his long and successful Hollywood career, he always told the story of the day Muhammad Ali turned down $2 million to protect his opponent's dignity and honor. "I learned that real strength isn't about having the power to hurt people," Goldstein would say. "Real strength is having the power to hurt people and choosing not to use it." Muhammad Ali taught me that some victories are worth more than money, and some defeats are worse than bankruptcy. The producer kept a photo from the movie's premiere on his desk for the rest of his career. It showed Ali shaking hands with Joe Frazier at the after-party, both men smiling genuinely, both men portrayed with the full dignity they deserved. Underneath the photo, Goldstein had written in his handwriting, "The day I learned that true greatness means lifting others up, not tearing them down." Like this story and subscribe for more.